We're live.
It's lit.
All right, where's the control here? Got one person in here.
Oh, yeah?
All right, we're going to wait for a few more to get in here.
And we live.
This will be tight to look back at in like 5 to 10 years.
Hell yeah, man. Live for the first time.
Get my own notifications.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, you guys? I got my best friend Chris here. For those who have been around for a super long time, you've been in what, probably
Couple.
5 videos, I would say.
Yeah.
Rallies, working on some cars.
Yeah.
Chris did the original, I don't know if I'll call it theme song, but like the video intro had music that Chris made, which is pretty cool.
Going way back.
Way back. That was like when I first started the channel, so 2016.
Jeez, dude.
6 years ago.
Chunk of
6
time.
years ago.
Chunk of
That's
time.
wild. I wish you could see like who was in here. I'm like, I know I'll recognize some names.
If it's you, JJ, what's good?
Yeah, JJ's here. Got 3 people in here. We're setting records.
Iron burner, bro.
So I asked people a bunch of questions on YouTube and Instagram. So I feel like we'll just go through those to begin with, and dive into that. And we've got a bunch of fun stuff to talk about. And if you guys have questions or anything, drop it in the comment section, and we'll go from there. So I'll start with the ones off of YouTube. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. I know we talk a lot on Instagram and YouTube, so I hope I am. Bilal asked if, I know you're swamped with your current build, but I'd like to know what your next car would be. R32 GTR, 100%. That's kind of the next bucket list car for me. I have where is it here? My future mother-in-law picked this up for me in Japan. It's a little scale model, so I'm definitely about to paint this like AH3 red and set it on my desk until I get that car. And we'll have the small one until I get the big one. Mark my words. Yeah, my goal was 30, which for me is 8 months from now. So I don't know if I'm going to have enough money for a $50,000 car in 8 months. The S13 kind of popped up out of nowhere, but it had to be done.
Had to be done.
It had to be done.
You got to jump on opportunities when they arise.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who have been watching the S13 build, that was a car that when it was offered to me, I knew I would never have an opportunity to buy a car that clean again or had been that meticulously built to that point. It was I told everyone it's like a big Lego kit. It's ready to go. So, but yeah, R32 GTR will be the next car. The goal is to buy it in Japan, drive it around in Japan, enjoy it, and then bring it back over here.
Big whipper.
Got my dad in here. Shout out to my dad. My dad comments on everything, which I really appreciate. So after the interior is installed, what's the next area of focus on the S13? So S13 plan is do the interior. The goal is to have that done by end of this month. I've got a little under, I can't remember if I told you this, but I've got a little under 5 months until that car has to be done. It's getting debuted in the Toyo Tire booth at WeekFest, which, if you're not familiar, is a huge car show. They do them all over the US. I think they do them in Japan. And Toyo is a massive tire company. So it's a huge honor to have the car in their booth. And I kind of wanted to give myself a deadline a little bit. Like, obviously, I'm not going to say no to that opportunity. Like, he's like, oh, yeah, we should talk about, like, displaying the car. You know, I was buying the tires through them and that kind of stuff.
Put a little fire under your booty.
I can't say no to that. And plus, that's in, I think it's June, which will be perfect because I want to enjoy that car this summer and get to drive it.
Hell yeah, dude.
But the next question is a perfect segue. Garage Nostalgia asks, are you worried about making the S13 too nice and being afraid to drive it? Yes and no. It's already past the point of no return. It's already too nice, if you will. But funny enough, that was actually a large part of the reason that the guy that I bought it from sold the car in the first place was he's like, it's going to be too nice. I'm going to be scared to drive it. But at the end of the day, like, I feel like it's like saving your girlfriend for the next dude.
Dude.
Like,
you know me, used to be bigger than I am now, but I used to be obsessed with sneakers.
yeah.
And I was the guy that would literally walk around like a penguin to not crease my shoes.
Yeah.
If it's raining, I'm not going to wear certain shoes. And it was so liberating to, like, you know what? despite these having clear soles, I'm gonna wear them in the rain.
Fuck 'em. I remember that
You
moment,
know?
and like to go back on that, like I remember meeting Chris freshman year of college, and he literally was like, "I learned how to walk different, like when I got into Jordans."
It's true.
And I get it. I'm all about taking care of my stuff. Like I'm particularly where I take my cars in the first place. Like I don't take the car to places where I'm worried about getting damaged or that kind of thing. So it's like, be cautious, but enjoy your things.
You gotta enjoy it, man.
Like
You have it for a reason.
You have it for a reason. The car is gonna fuck, and I want to enjoy it. So
I was literally like, I don't know if I'm not supposed to curse.
Oh no, we're cursing.
Okay,
we're cursing.
I said booty earlier. You know?
Oh man. Okay, let's see here. Johnny Vigil asked, where has Lewis, sorry if I misspelled it. Nope, dude, you spelled it right. Where's Lewis been and what happened to Average Bros Media? Well, Lewis was actually just back on the channel recently for a cross-track build that we're doing on his car. But long story short, Lewis and I started the channel together, and his interest in it just kind of faded. It wasn't something that he wanted to continue to do, and it's all I've wanted to do.
Right.
So, you know, it kind of just was a natural progression. We started out as Average Bros Media, which, you know, obviously they're two brothers. Our last name's Avenge, so it's kind of a play off of our last name, and we're just two average dudes working on cars. But as Lewis kind of got less involved, and I started to figure out really what I wanted to do with Avenge and like what with the channel, I started realizing that Average Bros and the name wasn't going to carry me to like where I wanted to go. Like I have such bigger aspirations than just the YouTube channel for this. And so I started thinking that a name change was necessary, and I wanted something that was going to kind of carry me into that next chapter. And for me, the Avenge thing is kind of twofold. You know, Avenge is kind of the technical definition is get even. And the whole idea for the brand for me is, you know, never waste talent. And that kind of, for me, it's like, you can go work for someone else. You're never going to get rich. And Chris and I have talked about this at length. We met in college, but I just like, I have a hard time with the fact that society tells us we have to go to school to be successful and do all of that. So like the whole get even thing for me is like, you can get to the same place by chasing your dream or working hard. You don't have to go through, you know, all the hoops that society says you do, was kind of my thing. And I firmly believe that. Like, it's going to be harder some days than others for sure. But at the end of the day, like the reward of getting to do what you love and something that excites you is totally worth it for me. I was telling Chris actually before this, but I was listening to Dave from Drift Games on Adam LZ's podcast, and he was talking about how for him, he had a lot of people pushing back on, you know, why would you want to take this leap and do the YouTube thing, do the content creation, and, you know, everything that his brand Drift Games is. And he was talking about how for him, it was a bigger risk not to do it. Like you could take the corporate job or you could try to chase your dream, and, you know, why not chase your dream? You know, you may end up back in the same place 3, 5, 10 years down the road, but at least you had that journey of trying to do that. And if you end up in the same place, you still got that experience. And for me, that's where I'm at. And I've been fortunate enough to work in the industry and get to be around it. And that's helped me make a ton of connections and learn more about what I need to do to make Avenge successful. But I couldn't sit by and not chase that dream for me.
Definitely not worth having that burden of regret either.
No.
That's one of the worst things in life. I think if you miss an opportunity and you let it go by, for the rest of your life, you'll look at that in your rearview mirror, and that's definitely not worth it.
I couldn't do it. I would have been sick for sure.
Yeah. Plus, Avenge just sounds badass.
I think it sounds sick, and like with the red color, and like I am so about this brand, and I want like it to embody everything that I like see as important in life, you know, and like chasing your dreams. If you guys follow me on social media, you see me talk a lot about mental health, and I got just doing everything that we want to do. Life is short. Like, why would you not? Again, perfect segue into the next question. Rain954 said, how are you feeling about Avenged Media? Is it right where you want it to be? And more Legacy GT? Okay, first of all, definitely want to do more Legacy GT stuff. That car has been with me since the very beginning.
The sleeper wagon.
Dude, the sleeper wagon. Yeah, if you've been around for a long time, the plate on that car used to be SLPRWGN, and it pissed people off. They were like, "It's not a sleeper if you like put it on the plate." Blah blah blah. I was like, whatever. Like I thought it was cool at the time. Rocked it for a few years. But that car's not going anywhere. That's the car that I'm hopefully gonna have forever. And long term. So if you follow the channel. I did kind of the whole suspension overhaul on that car. But that was like phase 1 of 3 in like the bigger full send build that I want to do. So that car is going to need an engine at some point. I want to do a full IAG block, big turbo. I think it'd be sweet to have like 500 horsepower in that thing and just fuck people up in a wagon that they're not expecting it.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Man.
And then once the engine's done, or depending on where I need to do it in, not full exterior transformation, but there's more JDM bits that I want to do, JDM rear bumper, the rear garnish, that kind of stuff, and then paint the car. The car definitely needs paint. It's got 140,000 miles on it. It's done a lot of rallies, and the front end definitely looks like it. Like I've cared for it and done my best to take care of it, but going back to enjoying your cars, I've definitely enjoyed this car, driven it a lot. Lewis and I took it down to San Diego. I was just telling Chris this story. Lewis and I took it down to San Diego, or actually, no, sorry, my friend at work. I was talking to him about it today. But we drove down to San Diego for the inaugural Western Express rally. So we did like down to San Diego to LA for the first day of the rally, LA to Vegas for the second day of the rally, and then back to Seattle, and did like 5,000 miles in 6 days. It was gnarly.
Crucial.
It was gnarly. I think I was like 24 at that point. I don't think I could do that at 29 coming on 30.
Well, we put in some miles on that thing too, bro.
We have. Chris has been on 3 or 4 rallies now. You've done a lot of rallies. I think you've done more than Lewis at this point.
I got some under my belt, man.
Dude, he's a rally veteran at this point.
But
yeah, going back to the question of how am I feeling about Avenge Media? Honestly, I mean, of course, I always want it to be bigger. I want it to make more money and this to be a full-time thing. But at the end of the day, I'm really happy with where it's at. I feel like the most important thing is that I have direction for where I want to take it, and that's huge for me. Like I have in my head the next year mapped out of what I want to do on the channel, the different pieces that are going to come with that, and yeah, I'm excited. I feel like for the first time I have a lot of direction, and the S13 was just an investment in content for me. I've got the S13, the S14. We've got content for the next easily a year. That's exciting. I'm pretty hyped.
As you should be, bro.
Okay, let's go on Instagram here. We got some more questions.
On the IG.
All right. So Brid Nasty said, "What's the basic difference between your 2 Nissans? Model, what that means, etc." They're the same. No. A lot of people would probably say they're the same because they're 240s. They're gonna both have S14 SRs in them. But to me, like the ultimate goal is to have an S13, S14, S15 in the lineup. Like I've been watching way too much Jimmy Oaks for sure. And I think you could build them all different, the S13 very much so. I'm kind of carrying off of what the previous owner was doing, which is obviously a super clean restoration, but also inspired by the cars in Japan. One of the stylistic things that those cars had, or was common in Japan on S13s, was they'd run what they call a double staggered setup. So you have bigger wheel in the back, it's an 18-inch wheel in the back, 17-inch wheel in the front. It fits the car a little bit better. And then the widths are actually different as well. So it's wider in the back, more traction. So just pulling inspiration from the cars in Japan. And, obviously there's tons of people who have built S chassis, and just pulling inspiration from the people that I think who have done it best. So yeah, that car is going to be the kind of like Japan style car, if you will. And the S14 at this point is like full Nismo catalog, Nismo Nissan Motorsport. So I've got all Nismo arms and everything for that car. God, I forgot. I literally was like so deep in that build and then jumped to the S13. But yeah, there'll be 2 different styles. I'm thinking about doing an SR20 like DVL. So you need to take the S14 motor that I have and put a front wheel drive head on it. For those of you who aren't familiar, we got some comments going on here.
I was going to say one of our viewers was just asking about that.
That had to be JJ, right?
Of course.
He said, "Hi guys, what's up, JJ?" JJ is one of Chris's good friends who I met in college, and we've been homies ever since. So I appreciate you being here, JJ. But yeah, just have 2 different style builds. I think those cars can be very different, and at the end of the day, the styling of them is completely different. And I think they just embody the years that they're from. The S13 is a 1990, and the S14 is a 1998. So you've got 8 years apart. Styles changed a ton. So similar cars, but also different at the same time. Let's see. John Wynn, how did you learn how to work on cars? Do you have any suggestions for someone who wants to get into it? Just dive in. We were just talking about this. I'm gonna let you kind of touch on what you were talking about earlier because I think it's super relevant.
Well, I mean, and shout out to JJ.
Shout out to Jay. Yeah, it's all coming full circle.
It's all
here.
coming full circle. So my guy JJ sent me this video today, and I'll give you the gist of it. Basically, if you're gonna shoot a rifle for the first time, you're gonna take your test shot, and you're gonna realize your scope's off. And without taking that first shot, you will never know how off your scope is, right? And so until you take that test shot, put the action in, and do the work, then you can adjust your scope and dial in more.
And I think that's so representative of like everything. So you talk about working on cars. I learned how to work on cars by, going way back, reading forums. Like forums were the Bible for working on cars.
Facts.
And
for everything too.
But for everything, yeah, I think everything had a forum, and it's kind of gone by the wayside with Facebook because you got Facebook groups and all that kind of stuff. But the information's out there. So do your research. Start simple, but challenge yourself. Like at the worst, you're gonna fuck something up, and I've fucked plenty of stuff up in my day. My dad's on here watching. We pulled the turbo out of here. Yeah, my dad said, "Tell Chris he's an awesome guy." So
my guy Al, shoot the gun, JJ, my guy.
But my dad and I were trying to do a turbo inlet on the Legacy GT, and this was like early days of me owning the car. All I had done was like basic suspension stuff, which is all very bolt-on, and we got stuck and couldn't figure it out. Had to tow the car to the shop, and it was a little defeating, but I've come a long way. Like I literally was when I was tearing the Legacy GT down and taking all the suspension off of it, I was like, this is such a like big progress over 10 years. Like I remember doing the sway bars on my car, which is a relatively simple install, and being like, holy shit, I just modified my car.
Hell yeah.
And it all felt so big, but it's baby steps. Like, start small and just pick up a wrench, start turning the wrench, work on stuff. Watch YouTube. Like
watch this guy.
I can teach you a few things, but there's a lot of really smart people out there posting videos on how to do stuff that will get you further than ever before. Like I really don't know how people existed prior to the internet, because I've learned everything off the internet. Like you've probably all heard the term YouTube mechanic. I'm a certified YouTube mechanic. Like I've learned everything on the internet. I'm not certified or trained in anything. But yeah, dive in. I think that's the best way to do it. Just get your hands dirty and start small.
It's all out there for you, man.
Yeah, I think most people start, doing wheels, coilovers, cold air intake, like real basic stuff. But as you start to go, you'll get a feel for it. And like the S13, I remember I pulled over and that car has no suspension on it. The interior wasn't in it. And my dad was like, are you sure you're going to be able to get that back together? And
we're going to find out.
We're going to find out. But I 100% believe from the beginning that, yeah, I'm going to put the car together. Like I've never worked on that car, but you can do anything you set your mind to. Like that's my belief.
That is so true.
Core on YouTube asked, you enjoying any more events this year? See you at Empire on Sunday. Yeah, I definitely want to get out to more events this year. Like I said, the S13 is going to be at Fest in Seattle, which is going to be huge. Like I'm probably not going to sleep the night before that. I'm so excited to have the car there. I think you got to come to that too.
Say less.
And then Empire, yeah, if you guys, it's put on by Northwest Motive, but literally like super close to my house. There's Cars and Coffee events probably once a month. Hopefully I'll be out there this weekend. Hopefully it's dry. I'm kind of tired of the rain. Andrew, what's up, dude? Andrew Amos said we made it. Did you meet Andrew?
Perhaps.
I feel like you did. Andrew's the fucking homie. I love hanging out with Andrew. Andrew, if you're still here, what's up, man? All right, let's get back to Instagram here. Gannon asked, what was your dream car when you were a kid, and what is it now? Ooh. I don't remember having like a supercar, dream car. Like you talk to every car enthusiast, and they're like, I had this car on my wall, and like this is what I wanted forever. The first car that I like remember really wanting was a 2005 STI. Like that was the one I had to have it. And my dad and I looked into insurance when I was 17 and buying a car, and it was like $450, $500 a month. And we were like, that's not happening. Like not a chance. So I ended up buying the silver Subaru, which is my daily driver that you may have seen like in the background of videos or photos that I posted on Instagram. Bought that car, and the stereo and climate control thing in that are all one piece, which is super uncommon in most cars. And so the only way to put a stereo in the car was to buy this kit from Japan that allowed you to put your double-in head unit in and have climate control separate. Well, I found that kit on the Legacy GT forums, and it was at that point that I realized they made a turbocharged manual version of that car. And very quickly after, I sold that car to my parents and bought the Legacy GT, which is a funny story. My mom had gone out of town for the weekend. I don't know if I told you this.
I don't know, man.
I was looking all over. I had found one on the East Coast, like in Maine, and it was a red manual wagon, black interior, like it was perfect, 50,000 miles, all stock. I had a pre-purchase inspection set up, and I hit them up the day before to confirm that we were good to go, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, we sold the car today." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like these cars were kind of hard to find." That's exactly how I felt. It was just a shot to the heart,
dude.
But everything happens for a reason. It was funny. I think I actually talked to the owner that bought the car years later, and he was like, "Yeah, there's some rust in the engine bay and that kind of stuff." So like everything happens for a reason, and I love the Regal Blue Pearl that I got my car in. But going back to the story, my dad and I went and test drove this car while my mom was out of town, which all bad. Dad, if you're watching this, you're a bad influence.
When mom's away, when guys gonna play.
When mom's away. And so the car is obviously a manual. It's a 5-speed manual. When I bought it, I didn't know how to drive manual. So my dad test drove the car. He's sitting in the driver's seat, obviously driving. I think I was in the back seat, and the dad of the kid who owned the car before me was sitting in the passenger seat. And I remember my dad getting on the freeway, and he was like, "Oh, this thing's quick." I'm surprised he let me buy it, to be honest. Like, I was a kid in high school and definitely could have gotten in trouble in that car. So shout out Dad for making that happen. I feel like it set me off on a whole trajectory.
He's a wise man.
But we bought the car, and my mom came home and was pretty much like, "What the hell? Like, I leave for a weekend and you guys buy a car."
It happens.
It happens.
You know?
Yeah, but good times. Okay, next question. When are you going to buy a car in Japan? R32. R32 is being bought in Japan. I'm going to drive it there, and then we're bringing it back.
Hopefully I'll be there too.
Yeah, hopefully Chris will be there. Chris has been to Japan twice now.
I have,
so
indeed.
Japan's a special place. For those that don't know, my fiance is half Japanese, and her mom's side of the family pretty much all lives in Yokohama. So I've been over there twice, and we definitely want to go more. One of the things we've talked about is, she got to spend the summers in Japan when she was a kid, and it was like hugely influential for her, helped her learn Japanese. So like, it's an experience we definitely want to give to our kids, if and when we have kids. So my ultimate goal is to be able to have Avenge be a full-time job and be able to go to the summer in Japan and have a car or two over there, make content in Japan, and then come back. So hopefully the R32 is the first of many cars to be bought in Japan.
Amen to that.
JJ wants to know when we're taking a Japan trip.
ASAP, bro. This year. Whenever you want.
Whenever you get a babysitter.
Yeah, that's when.
Then we're going. Going. We got a little more free time over here.
Mm-hmm.
Brian's Crazy World on Instagram asked, "What's your favorite part of the new shop?" The lift, hands down. I will never be able to go back to working on my back on a car. I forget where I was, but we were doing it, and I was like, "This sucks.
What am I doing?
This sucks." And that sounds so spoiled and so pretentious, but like we all start somewhere. Like I put my sway bars on, my exhaust on, like all these parts on my back in my parents' garage. And JJ says Chris ain't about it.
Always talking shit, my guy.
Wants to fight. All right, JJ. Yeah, having the lift has been a complete game changer. And more than anything, like just the garage as a whole has allowed me to do so much more and dive in. Like one of the biggest issues was I had 3 cars, and they were all in different places. I'd have to go drive like an hour and a half to go get a car. It just made it an ordeal. Like it made, and I would do it because I wanted to make content, but it just was hard. It was hard. So having the space to work on projects, leave projects, has allowed me to tear apart the suspension on a Legacy GT and leave it up on the lift for a month while I work on it and just do more than I ever could. My dad says lift equals Nicole. Nicole was the old Subaru that was, my dad bought it in, I was like in elementary school. He drove this car for a while. It was a 2002 Subaru Outback, and he drove it and was nice enough to share it with me when I was in high school. And that was my baby too. Like I took, me, I took care of that, kept it clean, like
the old lady Nicole, man.
The whole thing. And my brother learned to drive in that car, like the whole thing. And that car's ultimate demise, Anna's in the comments here, my sister, she said, "R.I.P. Nicole." The ultimate demise of that car was it just needed a lot of work. Anna had it down in California. Long story short, we ended up selling the car, and my dad went in with me on the lifts for the garage, using the money that was from Nicole. So the car that I learned to drive in paid for. I didn't even think about that until now. The car that I learned to drive in paid for part of the lift in the garage.
Dude, Nicole's legacy, man.
Dude, Nicole's a legend.
She lives on.
That's pretty cool. JJ says, Coeur d'Alene trip this summer for content. We could do a road trip. That'd be sick.
That would be fun.
That'd be sick. I'd be down.
We got big plans, homie.
All right. Jimmy Wilkie says, what is something you think a lot of S chassis owners overlook when building their car? Oh, man. There's so many clapped out S chassis out there.
I was going to say this one is all you, brother.
There's so many clapped out S chassis out there. And I'm sick. I take everything way too far. And that's why the cars are completely torn apart, being re-undercoated. Like that's the way that I want to build a car for sure. But generally speaking, this applies to more than just S chassis. But I think one of the biggest mistakes people make when they're modding a car is they just buy a mod because they can afford it at the moment. Like it's not necessarily the best one. And I'm not saying you have to have the best of everything, but there's like a certain, and I think this applies to anything, but there's like a certain threshold where like you probably want to buy something above this quality because otherwise it's just not going to be good.
Right. It's
not going to be that good. So what I would recommend if you're building a car, save up for something that's going to be worthwhile in the long run. Like don't buy the $500 set of coilovers just because you can afford them at the moment. Save up for the $1,000 ones. They're going to ride a little bit better. It'll be worth it for sure.
Long-term vision.
Yeah. It's that's a good point as well. Like think about what you want to do with the car. Don't just buy things here and there and piece it together. Like if you think about what your goal is for the car long term, have a plan and kind of execute from there. As far as S chassis, like in particular, oh man, I'm gonna come back to this one. I gotta think of something specific for the S chassis, but I think maybe sound deadening. Like those cars are tin cans. They're super thin. I was debating if I want to put sound deadening in the S13, and I was like, oh, it's so clean. Like I don't want to put it in. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw I put up a poll to see what you guys thought, and like overwhelmingly people were like, yeah, dude, you got to do it. Don't be an idiot. And I went out into the car and started tapping around on the floor, and I was like, oh, done. Like I got to put some sound deadening in this, and I went totally overkill. There's like 3 different types of sound deadening products that we're going to be using in that car, so hopefully it's a little quieter.
Smooth ride, man.
Michael says, don't be like me. Michael, what are you referring to? You've met Michael. Michael Weiner?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Chance says, do you want to hang out? Chance, yes, 100%. You got to come back over. All those beautiful photos of the S13 that I've been posting all over Instagram, my friend Chance shot those. Chance Mark II or MK2 on Instagram. Check him out. Super talented photographer. He just got a cool JZX Chaser. Yes, Chance, come back over. I should have you come over tonight. D. Fernandez, I think his first name is David. I've talked to him a lot. Shout out to people behind the scenes that help make things happen. 100%. I have had a lot of awesome partners and companies support me in various ways that wouldn't be possible. BC being one of the latest ones. Cody down at BC, I got introduced to him when I was down at Admiral Z's compound. And we're going to be working together on some more projects in the future. I've got a set of drift spec coilovers in the garage for the Z. So huge thank you to the partners who have helped us out. 1552 helped us on the recent Crosstrack build, and 1552, Toyo Tires, Grimspeed, Trails by Grimspeed. There's been so many people that have helped me along the way that made things possible, man. And I definitely appreciate it. So it's cool to hear that my viewers and subscribers recognize that as well. And anytime you guys can, follow a link or go buy something from someone who supports me, it helps a lot. So it means a lot to me.
It's all interconnected.
It's all interconnected. Network. Like talk to everyone, not because you're trying to get something. You just never know when you may be able to help someone else out or when they may be able to help you. Like don't discount any relationship.
That's life advice right there.
It really is. It really is.
It's all about people.
Michael said, when I ran the negative 11 degrees on the Devrex with hand slide coils and no upper arms and pulled my axles out. Yeah, Michael, you're a fool. You've done some ridiculous stuff with cars, but I love you, man. Let's see. So just want to drop in and say the wagon is looking sick. Also, big mahalo, and thanks for doing a walkthrough when installing the folding mirror kit. Oh, hell yeah. I'm blanking on this guy's name right now, but he makes the harnesses for the folding mirrors on the Subaru. Made it so much easier to do that job. Like electrical is one of the things that I don't know if I ever want to dive into in a car because it's like if you fuck that up, your shit's on fire.
Yeah, no, I'm cool.
And I'm like, I'm gonna leave that to professionals. I have a good friend in California. His name's Russell. Russell, if you're here or watching this later, shout out to you. Russell got fucked by so many shops pretty much that he decided he's just gonna learn how to do everything on his car himself.
Shout out to Russ.
He's learned how to fabricate, and he's a badass welder now. He's making like professional high-end race harnesses for cars. So Russell's gonna come up here and measure everything out in both the 240s and making wiring harnesses for that. Yeah, I'm really stoked about that.
That's a badass right there.
Yeah, no, Russell's sick.
Sure.
He's got a cool FC that he's been working on since like, I don't know, 5 BC. He's been working on it forever. JJ said Porsche or BMW. Oh God, I've driven a lot of BMWs recently. We took that X3M competition on the rally.
Shit.
And that thing was gnarly.
That thing fucked, bro.
Gnarly. Like
Whoa.
that car does things, or SUV does things that no car should.
I just gotta come clean to everybody. You know, I'm not much of a car guy. This guy Nick put a little gas on that ass, and I felt like I was in a spaceship for a second.
Thing's ridiculous. It has the same drivetrain as I think the G80 M3 in an SUV. It's absurd.
Did you post the video of me holding the GoPro?
Oh yeah, you're in the video. Yeah, go look. There's a photo of me in front of the X3M. That's the thumbnail of the video. And like early in the video, when we're getting on the freeway coming out of Tacoma when we left Rio's, I was like, Chris, take the GoPro. I want to film your reaction because we hadn't done a poll at that point,
bro.
And it was very authentic.
I felt G-forces, man. I felt G-forces.
Oh, yep. Will Poff is in the comments.
Will.
Shout out, Will. That was Will's car we were driving.
Yes, sir.
When I didn't get the Legacy GT done in time, Will came to the rescue.
Shout out to Will.
And now the running joke, anytime he sees me in the Legacy GT, he was like, just in time for Northwest. Oh, man. Oh, we got Kevin in here. Will says, Will, join the chat. Let's make a deal on the M2 right now. Oh, dude, I want the M2 so bad. Here's the problem. I was talking to Will earlier. So Will has an M2, and Will stores 2 cars at my house. I've driven the M2 a fair amount. I've been scared off recently because I've had a couple instances. The wheels got minorly curved, which I'm embarrassed to even admit. And I scratched the tint. So I've been fixing those things on it. But I told Will, I was like, bad things come in threes. 2 things have happened. I'm not going to drive that car and find out what the third is. But
Can't do it.
But that car is so well set up. He's got the M2 competition seats in it, an M Performance exhaust, some nice carbon bits, like oil and coilovers. It's super dialed in. And like I said, I really want that car, but it's one of those things where like I wouldn't want to change anything on it. And for this next year, like I just have to invest everything I have into the channel to make this thing successful. So help me blow up the YouTube channel so I can do that and have the M2. And it'd be a win-win for everyone.
Amen. We love you, Will.
Will says that I've had bad luck with the car because I haven't bought it, which is probably true. It's like, fuck you, stop driving it. Hey up! Man. Yeah, no. Will's a true homie and has let me drive his cars a lot. And I really appreciate it for sure.
That was one of the funnest rides I've ever been in. So, again, shout out to you, Will.
JJ says, 1 year from now, what's the goal? I posted my goals on Instagram. I have 3 goals for Avenge that I'm really focusing on for this year. I want 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Posting 2 videos a week. I want to stay consistent to that. I feel like that's like the bare minimum for this channel to grow. What was my other one? I'm blanking. I gotta go look.
Be a total badass.
Just continue being a total badass.
That goes without saying, though.
Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I posted my goals up on Instagram if you're curious about looking what they are. What was the other one? I should remember this. Oh, S13 to SEMA. I've always wanted to take a car to SEMA I think I told you about SEMA, but SEMA's like the biggest automotive convention in the US. Will says my goal for the year is buy an M2. Give me number 4. It's number 4 goal. Yeah, I really want to take the S13 to SEMA. I think that would be super cool. Excuse me. It's the car to do it for sure. Like it's going to be to that quality that would be right at home with a lot of the cars at SEMA. So I'm working super hard trying to get the car done and find a place or a booth for it at SEMA that we can bring that car and show it off because I think people are going to really like it. My dad said, remember when your 1,000 followers was a goal? He's talking about subscribers, but yes, I remember like I wanted 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and I remember hitting it and I was like, I was like, let's go, we're big time. We got to drop clothes, merch, like all that stuff. And that didn't really pan out all that well. I needed to humble myself a little bit. But it's all a learning process. So 100,000 subscribers on YouTube would be really big. That's what I'm focusing on for the year. Get the S13 to SEMA and 2 videos a week. So hold me to it. If I'm not posting 2 videos a week and I haven't explained myself, come for me.
I'll call you up.
That goes for all of you. JJ said you have merch. No, not yet, but I was just telling Chris about the plans.
Great question.
Yeah, great question, JJ. One of the things that I really want to do, or I've wanted to do for a long time, and it was a big part of the reason for the whole Avenged rebrand. I've always wanted to make clothing, and not like nothing against some of the people on YouTube who are making merch, but there's a lot of cheap kind of half-assed merch out there that you get it and the shirt's kind of thin, it shrinks in the wash.
You're scared to wash it.
Yeah, it becomes, it went from a large to a medium.
I have that.
I'm not about that. Like I want whatever I put out there to be representative of the highest quality and something that I would want to wear myself. Like pretty much the way I build my cars, right? Like I want that level of quality across the board. Gilded brand merch, exactly, bro. There's some trash merch out there, but I finally found a brand that can meet the level of quality that I want, and I'm working on that. So the goal, hopefully, is to have a first pre-order of stuff for merch in February. So stay tuned and go check out @Avenged Official on Instagram. That's going to be the clothing brand, and that's where we'll be posting all the updates and everything. So give it a follow and be one of the first people to follow, and that way, when that brand blows up, you'll be able to say you're one of the OGs.
OG, man.
Christian Roberts in the comment, used to have a 240 for a long time and sold it in 2008. Thinking about purchasing a 180S now and curious as to how it is sourcing parts and such. I know yours came with a lot of parts, but curious. I think you can find a lot of stuff. Some of the stuff is just discontinued and not out there anymore, and it's next to impossible to find. So if you do buy a car like that, there's certain things that, like, buy yourself a clean example. Don't be like, I'm going to go find myself a dash and weather stripping and all that kind of stuff. Look for a clean car from the jump and you will save yourself so much headache. I think more and more we're going to see that these cars probably have more parts, or I shouldn't say we're going to see it, but I'm hoping that we'll see more of these parts reproduced. Like if you look at classic muscle cars and trucks and stuff, there's all sorts of repop fenders and you can buy every body panel you want. And I'm hoping we start to see that for more like the classic JDM stuff as it gets more popular. But definitely look for a clean car to begin with. You'll save yourself a lot of heartache in the end. But yeah, there's a lot of parts out there. A lot of the stuff that did come with my car is either still available or you can find it used. The most unfortunate part is you're going to pay a lot more than you would have when you had your car before. The prices have just gone through the roof, supply and demand. So know that, but for me, it's kind of an investment. Like these cars, I think, are just going to continue to go up in value as they become more and more classics. And there's, more of them get crashed every day, and every year there's less and less on the road. So
supply and demand, baby.
Supply and demand. You can play with the stock market, or you can play with stinky old JDM cars, and I'm going with the latter.
I can dig it.
Let's see. Will's in the comments telling Christian to buy it. I agree. Buy yourself a 180. And honestly, like the S13 that I bought was so perfect because it was a ton of different content, and it's essentially going to be a 180SX clone, if you will, like when it's done. But if I wasn't trying to make content and showcase an entire build, buying a 180 is a super smart way to go. It comes with the motor that I'm swapping into that car, and it just gets a lot of other things that we didn't get in the U.S. market. So I would definitely recommend looking into a 180. Let's see what else we got here. Christian said, yeah, absolutely. It hurts my stomach to see the prices, but it's always been my top 3 car, and I just love mine. It was just in a different part of my life. I totally get that, man. Life happens, and you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, no, they're sweet cars. The style of them is definitely timeless. And buy one, man. Life's short.
That it is.
Let's see what we got. So one thing that Chris and I have been talking about, to give you a little context, like Chris has been around cars through me primarily, but like
for a long time.
Was never in a car. But yeah, for a long time. Like we've been friends 10 years now, right?
Yeah, dude, which is
damn
fucking weird to say.
Damn, that is weird. Like that's weird.
Legit
10 years.
On a decade tip, bro.
But I've been slowly working him into the car culture,
Mm.
and we've been talking about getting him to learn how to drive manual first of all, which kind of presented the idea of either buying a car to build. I thought it'd be cool to do like a 350Z or a
And I-
G35.
Just off aesthetics, I love the 350Z.
The Z stylish, man.
It's stylish. It is.
Yeah. So we've talked about that. I mean, an old BMW or something like that would work.
Something.
I hadn't talked to you about this, but Chris has an E36 3 Series and an E46 3 Series. Could we swap the transmission in that? Would that be allowed?
Well,
Because those cars are like the manual swap is super easy. If anyone is into like classic BMWs, how easy is it to swap a manual transmission into an E46 or an E36 3 Series? Because they're popular cars with a lot of parts out there for it. We can maybe work with something you've got.
well, both my cars are project cars now. I mean,
Okay.
you've seen Black Beauty.
Yep.
But the Silver Bullet now is fucked. We can't, and my dad's a big car guy. We have like a family friend mechanic that literally like worked on BMWs as his career, and he's only looked at it like very briefly, but my dad cannot figure it out. And like my dad drove it yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, it's totally fine. Like, take it for a spin later today." I went out, and that shit was in the red. Like I made it about like 3 miles.
Temperature or like the RPMs and stuff?
Temperature, and
Okay.
it started just pouring steam out of the
Okay,
hood.
so you got some sort of coolant issue probably.
Yeah, but so the primary symptom that I first noticed driving it, it was running fine, and I'd be on like a main road, and all of a sudden it would just stop accelerating. Like I could literally put it pedal to the metal, and I couldn't get it to go over like 15 miles per hour. So my dad, he's on Google and shit, and he poured like Blue Devil in it, and he's trying to do every little thing he can to get it right, and it just ain't getting right. So
yes, we can.
So the short answer might be yes, my guy.
Okay, so the question is, which one would you rather build? If we
Well,
built something.
I have to restore Black Beauty
Okay.
to her former glory, because Nick knows the whole story. I made a big boo-boo, and that car means a lot to me sentimentally. But in the condition the Silver Bullet's in,
We'll assess our options.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah.
it'd be sick to do a manual swap on one of those cars.
that'd be so sick.
Get it on coilovers, wheels. I just started this week at S-Tech. If you guys aren't familiar, S-Tech makes like PPF wraps, window tint, all that kind of stuff. So we could get you looking fresh with a nice new PPF color change.
Gotta look fresh, bro. Getting fresh is very
I
important.
think we got to do this. If you want to see us build a car for Chris and teach him how to drive manual in it, let us know in the comment section. And if there's support, I say we do it like this summer. We make it
I'm
happen.
so down.
We make
bro.
it happen.
I'm so down.
I think that'd be super cool.
I gotta expand my mind.
Oh yeah. So Michael is in the comments here. Michael worked at a JDM importer. I'll refrain from saying the name, but he said, "Dude, I bought my Skyline GTS for $6,000 to $7,000." Michael, what year did you buy it in? I can't remember. It had to be like 2013.
I've
14.
seen that car, just photos.
Yeah.
That is a slab, bro.
So he had a GTS-T, he had a couple GTRs, but he said he bought that for $6,000 to $7,000. He saw it for sale 4 months ago for $25,000. The market's gone nuts. Like GTRs used to be, what do you say here? GTR was $19,000, now they're $40,000. $40,000 if you're lucky. Like some of those cars are $50,000. He said he got them the first year they were legal. Okay.
Goddamn, boy.
He said it's E46 and SMG. I'm pretty sure it's an automatic transmission. I'm not super familiar with BMWs, but I'm pretty sure it is an SMG. He said I think they make a kit for it now. That's the other thing. Both of those cars are like such modified cars that every part you want for it is out there. Like if we wanted to put a fucking LS motor in it, we could do it, and you could have a V8 that sounded gnarly. And your dad would probably appreciate
Oh,
that.
he'd go nuts.
Oh, dude, the ideas
He'd
are
go
running.
nuts.
The
man.
ideas are running here. Kevin said, however much work it is, it's worth it. Do the swap.
Well, okay.
And going back to the partners earlier, I got a lot of people that can help us out and
So
make
sick,
this
bro.
possible. Oh, dude,
I'm
I'm
just do a whole
excited.
series, man.
We should do a whole series. Honestly, like this stuff is so fun to me because
Chris learns cars.
Chris learns cars. If anyone watches Jimmy Oak's channel, I've literally told Chris that him and Steve are like, what did I say? Like spiritual or
we could be
like
be
personality
soul-bonded, bro.
doppelgangers. But and it's been fun to watch as all like those guys teach him about cars and that kind of stuff. And I think it'd be super fun to do that with Chris as well.
JJ's talking shit again,
To Chris
homie.
I'm automatic. I would pay to see him drive a man.
JJ's talking shit
22
again.
years.
I was 18.
I was gonna say you had your license when I met you.
Yeah, I was 18, man.
This
I
guy's out
did take driver's ed, but fucked it on for a couple more years. So
Dude, I was ready to drive like immediately.
I took driver's ed. I did everything right. Got my learner's permit, and then I was like, JJ can take me everywhere in that old Honda. In that old Honda, baby. The automobile.
Will said I should teach you in the Z. Isn't that clutch indestructible? It's indestructible, but also impossible to drive because it's indestructible. And that was the thing he was asking me. I was like, I would totally teach you in any of my cars, but the clutches are going to be a bitch.
I also don't want to explode any cars.
I feel real bad. Let's see here. What else we got? Chris said, I feel a series in the works. The swap will learn the manual is icing on the cake. We got to do it. We got to do it.
Come on.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Come on.
Let's see. What else
JJ,
we got
we're
here?
ignoring all your shit talk from here on out.
I'm going to ban him from the chat.
Yeah, you couldn't use it, dog.
Peace out, Michael. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, so other than that, I mean, you just kind of update on where the cars are at. S13 is first and foremost priority. Like I said, that car is getting debuted in the WeekFest booth in June. So it has to be done. Everything is revolving around that. And my plan is kind of to fit other stuff in as I can. Like if the car is off at a shop getting worked on, or I'm waiting on parts or anything like that. JJ's heading out. Dad duty's call.
Well, no, brother.
Peace, JJ. Yeah, so the cars, S13 is going to be the first and foremost priority. The S14, I got it back from Driven Collision Center, who did the full restoration on the underside of that car. I had it sandblasted. We stripped off all of the old seam sealer, did a new primer on it, new seam sealer, and then re-undercoated it. I had all that done thinking I was going to bring it home and put the suspension on it. Then I bought an S13. So that one's getting sidelined for a little bit, and I'll work on that as time permits. But I see the S13 as kind of like the short form content or short term content, and then S14 being kind of long term. And we'll work on that as we can. I told myself I was going to sell the Z when I bought the S13, and I'm having a really hard time doing it. I've had a few like semi-serious offers, but I took that car out last night and was just ripping around, and I'm like, it's so perfect. It's so perfect the way it is. I built it exactly how I wanted. There's a few things I would do to it, and I'm having a hard time. So I'm trying to figure out if there's any possible way that I can keep that car and continue. Because the other thing is I just want to keep drifting. Like I've taken that car out drifting probably like 3 times, and I want to do more.
Come on, bro.
It's so fun, dude.
Come on, bro.
Oh, it's so fun. Oh, the guy that bought my carpet just popped in here. So I was installing the carpet in the S13. I cut it out with the S14 carpet. Everything on the transmission tunnel fit perfectly. And then I used the holes for the seats and cut those, put in the car, and they didn't line up. And I could line up like 6 of 8 of them. And I was like, I can't live with it. It's totally usable, hence why he bought it. Like someone who wasn't as neurotic as me can totally put that in the car and it'd be no issue. But with the level I want this car to be,
Not neurotic, a perfectionist.
Perfectionist.
Yeah.
But with the level that I want this car to be, I had to buy new carpet. So I've got literally new carpet sitting in my living room, just sitting on the floor. Sorry to my roommates who have to deal with all my car parts everywhere. You can see we've got seats behind me. The S14 dash is sitting over there on the floor. There's S chassis parts everywhere. So,
Miss Avenged, I'll take you up on that offer anytime.
Yeah, my dad says he's going to teach my sister and Chris how to drive in the 66. He's got a 66 F100, which is 3 on the tree. Like, I don't know if you've even ever seen that. Like,
nah, dog.
It's a 3-speed. You shift on the column, and this truck is much better drive than it ever was. Like, before he did the restoration on it, it didn't have power brakes, didn't have power steering, and it was running rough. So it's definitely better to drive now. But to my dad's point, the clutch is fairly reasonable drive. So maybe we'll take you out in the big parking lot and you can learn how to drive in the 66.
Say less.
He says Anna says Elisa has power steering now. Yeah, power steering. It's a big girl. It's a big truck. It's a long bed, and you'd get in like tight areas in a parking spot, and it was brutal. So
Getting an arm workout in that.
Yeah. So I think we'll have to do that. But yeah, the S chassis are in full progress here. If I can find a way to keep the Z, I really want to wrap it in. Oh, where is that? Where is it here? Oh no, I left them at work. Damn it! I had all the samples of like our wraps and stuff from work. But
shit.
what's cool about the S-Tech product is it's not just a vinyl wrap. So you've seen like color change wraps, that kind of stuff. It's essentially like a big sticker.
So sexy.
If a rock hits it, it's pretty much going straight through that. What S-Tech's product does, like our Dyno series of product, is it's paint protection film, so it's thick enough to actually protect, but it's also a color change as well. So if you're spending the money, like I didn't even know this existed before I started talking to S-Tech and started working there. I don't know why you'd ever do anything else. Like, so you get the protection and the color change. I posted on Instagram that when I bought my Z, I always wanted a black or red Z. Like I tried really hard to find it. The one that I have now, the silver one, popped up and it was just too clean. I couldn't pass it up. It was the right deal. But if I keep that car, what I'd really like to do is wrap it in our Dyno Black, which is a nice gloss black. And then we have two. We have a Dyno carbon wrap and a Dyno matte carbon wrap. And it looks so realistic. Like most carbon, you can tell it's a wrap. It doesn't look real. It has the depth and like the weave to it looks super good. So long story short, I think it'd be cool to do a carbon roof on that with the black, and just get that thing refreshed. It needs the new BC coilovers. It needs some brakes, but other than that, it's like ready to go and sorted. And I think it'd be cool to do just kind of a refresh series on that and take it out the track and rip.
Come on, man.
And then I touched on the Legacy earlier, but we did the full overhaul for the full send suspension build. Next two phases, depending on the health of the motor, which is questionable at this point, would be full motor build, try to get 500 horsepower to the wheels with a IAG block, big turbo, the whole 9 yards, and then refresh the exterior. So that car is kind of on the level that the S chassis would be. I mean, that's kind of my goal. Like, I feel like everyone has their niche within the YouTube space. I want to be the detail guy.
You have to.
Just got all the details. Then my cars are known for being just perfect.
Meticulously crafted.
But we'll drive them. We'll drive them. We'll be perfect, but we'll drive them.
Gotta wear your shoes. Gotta drive your whips.
Yeah, man. You gotta wear your shoes and drive your cars. Words to live by. And then I have a 74 Bronco that was my grandpa's. That car's super special to me. It needs a little bit of love. Got to work on the carburetor. That stuff's like well out of my wheelhouse. You talk about trying to figure out stuff you don't know. My dad and I were trying to diagnose that, and we rebuilt the whole carburetor and got the truck running, which it wasn't running when I initially picked it up because it sat for a couple of years after my grandpa passed away. But it needs a little bit of work, so I think I'm going to take that one to the professionals, let them get it dialed in. But if you guys want to see more Bronco content on the channel, I'm happy to share more of that truck. Let me see if I can find a photo here. I wonder if you can share a photo. Nope. Well, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen the Bronco. It's a beautiful truck. It's a 74. My grandpa had it since 72, and it was like his hunting rig for a long time. He took it out in the woods. I have a photo somewhere of him like standing in front of it with an elk on the front or a deer on the front of it. And then in 2010, he did like a full restoration on it. So that truck is super special, super sentimental, and definitely not going anywhere. My fiance's dad was asking me when we were hanging out in Jordan, and he was like, "What do you think that thing's worth?" And we were talking. He's like, "If someone offered you $80,000 for it, would you take it?" And I was immediately, no. Like, I'd rather grind harder and figure out a way to make more money than ever sell that truck. Like, it just,
and that's what it is.
That's what it is. I mean, and that's my thing. Like, anyone who's into cars knows that they're more than just transportation.
I could never sell Black Beauty, bro.
They get you.
By the condition she's in, like,
we'll bring her back.
We'll bring her
back
easily, bro.
Deal. I was talking to Will earlier though about I bought the S13 under the premise that I was going to sell the 350Z, and I'm like, I will never ever buy a car telling myself I'll sell something again because I can't do it.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
I can't do it. Like, in both the cars are in my garage, so I'm like, oh, I don't want to sell a running car. Yeah, it's one of the few cars that I have that's running right now.
Come on,
realistically.
Come on.
And yeah, if you're gonna buy a new car, sell the car that you told yourself you're gonna sell first. It'll be a lot easier. So, yeah, support the YouTube channel so I can keep the Z. I don't want to start a GoFundMe or an OnlyFans. I don't think that'll work out
well. You never know, dog.
I don't know, man. I won't be doing that anytime soon. But yeah, if you guys have any more questions, drop them in the comment section. I think we'll probably wrap up here pretty soon. But this was super fun. I really enjoyed this.
Fun, man.
I'm glad Chris got to join me. Like I said at the beginning, I think we're going to look back on this in 5 to 10 years, and it's going to be really cool to have this for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But no, I'm really excited. I appreciate all of you for supporting Avenge in any way you have, whether you watch one video or you've watched every video. If you like my stuff on Instagram, I really appreciate all of you guys. I love doing this. I was telling Chris before, like I walked out to the garage when I was working on the S13 back in December before I took my trip, and I was like, if I got to do this every day, I'd be freaking stoked. So that's the goal for sure. I love doing this, and I'm glad that I have people that watch my videos and enjoy the content. Like it's pretty cool to share that.
It's awesome, man. That's what it's all about.
Will said, definitely do this again for sure. Super cool. Kevin said, keep killing it, man. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Got my M2 boys in the comments. Looking forward to driving together again here soon. Yeah, let's give it a couple. We'll give a couple minutes here and see if anyone has more comments. But yeah, this was sweet, man.
This is awesome. Thanks for inviting me.
I had to. I was like, I can't just sit on live by myself. Like, you gotta have the conversational element, and
I'll be your co-host anytime, brother.
hell yeah, hell yeah, yeah. If you want to see more of Chris, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna build a car. It's gonna be sweet,
dude. Honestly, we have to do that.
We have to do that.
Yeah.
We have to do that. Let's go. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go find some cool examples to show you, and we'll get some inspiration here.
You guys will be able to judge by the look on my face.
Okay, if you're gonna do any color, you think you keep it black?
Maybe keep it black. I've always been fond of like the white and black motif though. Like I just think that looks mean.
Speaking of, we got a nice white one here.
Yeah, a little stormtroopered out action, man.
Like that's pretty sweet. I dig that.
Mm-hmm.
Can't go wrong with red.
That's
I've been
my favorite
loving
color.
red cars lately.
It's my favorite color, man.
You know, it's funny. Red was always my favorite color growing up, and I like switched to blue. Really like blue, and I'm definitely back in a red phase.
Red is just cool.
Red is cool, man.
It's a powerful color.
Got Brian in the comments said, appreciate the live stream. Thanks. Can you do it in the garage next time and show us some of the cars? Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, we'll set up in the garage next time. We'll walk through and do some more with the cars. But man, I love the E46, your silver car, but I think Black Beauty might have to be.
She's gotta get some love, man.
Dude, a red? We've got a gorgeous red.
That'd
We've
be
got a
banging.
gorgeous red wrap that'd
be banging, man.
I think that's it, dude. If you're on board with red, I'm on board with red.
I'm on board with red, bro. My dad might have something to say about it, but
sorry, Jim.
Sorry, Jim, bro.
Kevin said, from this day forward, you shall be known as Avenge Chris. I'm with that. Dude, I want you on the channel more.
Dude, anytime.
Yeah,
you just gotta call me,
do it.
bro.
We just gotta build a car.
You just gotta call me.
All right, you guys. I think we're gonna wrap up here. I hope you enjoyed this. We'll definitely do this again soon. This was super fun, and we'll do it from the garage next time so you guys can see more of the cars. But I love you guys. Peace out. I hope you have a good rest of your night, and yeah, enjoy.
Yeah.